application. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. That's exactly what time it is. The Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. We'll talk to Blake coming up in just a couple of minutes, actually less than that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and find out the numbers in case you want to get in touch with Blake. It's real easy to do. Give him a call in his office. It's Sloan Realty Group at 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Or you can go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. We'll repeat that information a lot over the next 30 minutes. If you didn't get it this time, get it next time. Let's get it started now. Here's Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Got an awesome show. Tons of great stuff we'll talk about today. This is our 28th straight edition during the COVID-19 crisis, Corona edition, and the real estate market still continues to thrive and do very well. We'll talk about what's going on with the brand new numbers for anybody that missed last week's show, and also the real-time numbers. I was just looking at real-time for how many properties gone under contract the last 7 days. Huge, big-time numbers, meaning the market still is very, very hot. Ironically, coming into after Labor Day. I mean, literally putting some of the same numbers it was during July. And we'll talk about that and kind of what's going on as well. So great news for everyone from the homeowner standpoint. Also, one thing interesting, we'll talk about a new national report out showing that home buyer traffic is on the rise nationally, which obviously we can tell that from here. But the key point I'll talk about is that it's expected to continue through 2021. They kind of give some of the numbers in there, but it's showing if you look at the national numbers that buyer traffic up 60% this year versus last year, which is crazy. And so we'll talk about that as well. I'll also look at, if we have time, the 2020 home buyer wish list. That's something that's very, very important. You're seeing buyer preference change this as people are working remotely now. They're at home a lot more now. And so we'll talk about what that means as well. And one thing we'll talk about too when we have time is talk a little bit about divorce situations in real estate. We've seen that come up a lot more lately, unfortunately, with COVID-19, but we see there's a lot of problems with that. There's a lot of usually back and forth and anxiety and who you're going to use agent-wise, and there's a lot of mistrust sometimes on if that agent is really helping them. And this is something that we've created a model that works very, very, very well to create win-win for both, and something that I feel that we're very, very good at. And so we'll talk about that. There's some recent experience and success stories with that as well. As usual, perfect storm right now with everyone moving from the Northeast, escaping these urban areas and more suburban type areas, and even states with lower cost of living. We're seeing that like crazy. We were talking last night to someone about how many homes we sold recently virtually without them even seeing it, literally having to mail the keys away before they come down. As usual, some amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it in the past week. Over 20 properties under contract last week alone. And so we're still pushing all the way to the finish line this year for sure.
All right, sounds good. We're just getting started. Got a long way to go. But if you're just tuning in for the very first time and don't know who Blake Sloan is, well, Blake Sloan has been called the real estate whiz kid here along the Grand Canyon. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, and other national publications. You've heard the personal endorsements here on this very radio station from Sean Hannity, from Glenn Beck, Gary Lavance, Barbara Corcoran. Maybe seen him on TV with NBC and also with Fox and Friends. You put them all together, just unprecedented in the world of real estate. Now, last week we learned a little bit, and every week, about the trademark systems that Blake has for all of his home buyers and home sellers. Can't reveal all of those on the air, but more than happy to tell you about the most important part of that system.
Yes, and this is like so important right now with the market being hot and kind of the pace that everything's moving, both with sales and also price. And so it really comes down to what determines your success or failure as a home seller, right? And the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only. That thing is the agent you choose, period, right? People make this huge mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same. It could not be further from the truth. And so why is that? Well, in selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, guess what that does? Puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything handled incorrectly, AKA they drop the ball, that costs you your hard-earned equity. And that could be anything from, do they help you price it right? Again, we're seeing people right now who aren't selling a lot of homes, helping the client pick strategy. And guess what? They're underpricing it. We saw one recently, someone went with basically a friend who had listed at a super cheap rate. They left almost $18,000 on the table just by pricing it too low because they weren't really familiar with the pace of the market right now. On top of that, many things like the quality of photos. Are the photos in the right order? Does your agent answer the telephone when a buyer calls out for a sale sign or that internet lead? Now, if they submit an internet lead, how long does it take them to follow up that buyer lead? Because if it takes too long, guess what? They don't answer or they found something else. And so there's so many variables that make or break the home sale that have to be managed. The problem with that is the old school business models is you have one single agent trying to juggle all the balls. It's just not possible to do that. And so what you find is most agents do the 3 Ps. 1, they promise the world to get listing. 2, they put it into MLS. And 3, they just pray that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street knocking on your neighbor's door trying to get their home as a listing. And so the problem is they just get stuck in the MLS and just hope someone brings a buyer. So what we did differently is, first of all, we created a system that's proven and repeatable that basically broke down every single one of those variables and creates a system that creates leverage at every single point. So point 1 is like a domino. Point 2 is like a domino. And you stack those dominoes up. What it does is it creates a massive gap between you and basically your competition. And so that gives our client a huge competitive advantage. So the system I designed is called the Guaranteed Sold System. The only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. I designed it. We license other agents, other parts of the country, and exclusive to us here. And so that's a huge advantage for home sellers. Now, on the flip side, it's the same exact thing for home buyers, right? What determines your success or failure is the agent you choose and how they execute in that process. Basically, they're the opposite variables, right? Because you're on the flip side of the equation there. And we create a system there called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gets you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation in purchase price, all the way down through home inspection to the closing table. And so the reality is, when you're dealing with most people, one of their largest assets, who you use matters. I can't tell you how important, and I see this over and over. Hey, I'm just going to use a friend who does it part-time or a friend who claims to do a lot, and you look them up, they only sold 5 or 6 houses in the past 12 months. The market pace right now is so much faster than that. You got to be able to adapt real time and know what's going on. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, obviously you've been listening for a while, reach out to us and take a look at our system. Anybody we show it to absolutely blows their mind. We show it to agents who've been in the business from other areas, 10, 15 years in the business. It absolutely blows their mind because I haven't seen anything like it. So if you want to know more, reach out, give us a call, 843-808-SOLD.
Yeah, that's the only way to get that information. Call Blake at his office at 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Coming up in just 1 minute, we'll get an update on what's happening in the real estate market right now in this area, and also a look at some of the most important numbers that you're going to be hearing throughout the entire weekend. Mortgage rates, interest rates, that's all coming up in just a second. Get in touch with Blake at that aforementioned phone number, 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com.
Hey, if you are in the market to make the most money for your home, Sean Hannity here with some important advice. I'm an active investor. I have bought and sold a lot of properties in hot, cold, moderate markets, and one of the lessons I have learned is this: hire the agent that knows how to create the most demand for your home. Now, if I needed to create demand in this market, no question, there's only one real estate agent I trust if I needed to sell my home. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, he services the entire Myrtle Beach area, attracts hundreds of buyers every week, and sells a home on average every 24 hours. Now, that helps you generate multiple offers and sell your home for the most money possible. Because it's like getting an immediate offer on your home, because if your home doesn't sell for the price of the deadline you agree to, you'll have it bought for cash, and he offers flexible fees. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international market creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Coming up in just a minute, some of the most important numbers you're going to hear all weekend long. What are the interest rates looking like right now, and how that's going to affect you and your home buying? Right now, though, let's find out what's happening as far as other numbers, and lots of numbers.
Yes.
So, real estate update, what's happening?
Crazy out there right now. If you remember, we have 2 types of numbers. We have like the real-time numbers that we've really got dialed in during COVID-19 to kind of say what's happening right now, how many buyers are in town, how many are buying, what's happening. And remember, we started doing that when the shutdown started because it went from like super fast to nothing. And so we really kind of switched that up. If you look at the overall market numbers we talk about each month, those are homes that sold in arrears. And so what you find is, though, let's say that homes closed this month. It probably went under contract 30 to 60 days ago. Usually right now, if it's financing, about 45 to 60 days. And so what you see there is that really tells us what happened a month, 2 months ago. And so I want to look at 2 things. One, how many new properties went under contract last 7 days? That's what I have my finger on the pulse of how many buyers are in town buying right now, how we help choose strategy for our clients. And so here's the deal. Then following during the overall crisis, it went from about 600, 700 properties per week going to contract all the way down to like 500. One time it was around 4. Went back up. It's been hovering in between 600 and 700. And the peak we hit last month, it did get up in the 800s, right? So that's how many properties in our entire MLS that went under contract the previous 7 days. And so right now we just broke it from the last 7 days, 801 properties under contract, $223,664,560. Huge numbers. Anything over 200 million going on contract has been huge. And so that's one thing that we're seeing that's a big number, that there's a lot of people buying right now. And so we have 12 properties right here over $1 million that's gone on contract, plus tons and tons of other ones you're seeing right now. In the past 7 days, the median price is $229,900. Average sale price $279,231. So what that means is market's still super, super hot. Surprisingly, very hot. There is going to be, some types of some uncertainty between buyers and people I've talked to here and across the country with elections and obviously winter and the flu season along with COVID. And so there's no telling what's happening. We're seeing a lot of people still make these moves. And so if you're a home seller, you still want to take that jump or that advantage while things are at the peak, right? You always want to strike while the iron's hot. It's uncertain, what's going to happen post-election or even into the winter, especially in this market. And so we also got to take into account interest rates. So that's key number there of real time. If you look at last month's numbers, so you kind of get a gauge of what's happening or prices, things like that. Last month sales were up 11.1% for resale single-family homes, which is great. Overall news there. So that's one thing that we're seeing that's really good. Into sales price, which is the other part of that. Sales price up 14.9% last month for median price, which is awesome. $270,000 for that, which is great. Even average sale price was up 13.1% at $335,521, and so it's crazy. If you look at back in January 2018, the average price was $244,000. Now we're up to $335,000. That's a lot of extra equity that people have right now that don't realize. I was reading an article last night actually about, just talks about how so many home sellers, even if they're distressed right now, have so many more options they did previously because the market's so hot, right? They have more equity. More homeowners have equity than they did before. And so that's something you want to take into account. But the one mistake I'm seeing right now with most people that put houses in the market is they're usually underpricing in some cases, or obviously overpriced in some. But what you're seeing is if you have an agent who only sells about 4 homes a year, the average in our MLS is about 4 homes a year. And so the reality is they're not really understanding how fast things are going. They're looking at data from 2 or 3 months ago. You're not making the best decision for real time right now. And so that's why if you do make that decision, you want to look at real time data plus obviously the trend of what's happened before. So one thing driving all this is inventory. Inventory has been crisis level low. Right now it's down 41.5% from the same month last year, which is huge. So you got sales up double digits and you got inventory down 41.5%. You can see where that puts pressure at. That puts pressure on price. And so that's one thing we're seeing a lot of appraisal challenges right now, which we've been able to help combat pretty well for our clients and negotiate pretty well. And also what you're seeing that's driving that is just overall buyer traffic. So buyer traffic this past month was up 20% from the same month last year, which is obviously why you're seeing sales up close to that. And so that's for single family home sales. Into condos, condo resales, great news, up 7.9% last month versus the same month last year. 616 condos sold. Into sales price, median sales price up 8.3% last month at $157 even. And the average sale price up 13.2% at $190,000. And you're also seeing a similar challenge with condos. Guess what? Also, less inventory, down 6% from the same month last year at 4.7 months. So what's that mean? We're seeing a lot of traffic. I mentioned before that perfect storm. Interest rates been hovering around all-time lows. We have obviously the COVID-19 crisis is driving a lot of people from out of northern states. We've had a lot of people take early retirements, work remotely, making the move earlier than they expected based on the frustration with government, also based on fear of COVID-19 in more densely populated areas. And so that's something to watch out. If you're a seller, take advantage of that. Again, you want to strike while the iron's hot. Not sure how long that will sustain itself. So far, so good. We're pretty well insulated here because there's just so many out-of-state buyers that are still coming. One thing driving that, like I mentioned, is interest rate. were the same exact interest rate it was on last week's show, literally. So last week's show for a 30-year fixed rate, 3.02%. Right now, guess what? 3.02%. I was reading an article this week that they kind of called it mortgage rates in drift mode. And so that's kind of what we saw this past week. We're a little back and forth, up and down. It's still super, super cheap, which is why you're seeing so many people lock in right now and make moves. 15-year fixed rate right now, 2.64%. A 30-year FHA loan, 2.38%, and that's a huge, huge opportunity right now. I know I say that past few weeks, but first-time buyers can get in 3% down, and they can own for so much less than they can rent for, and don't even realize it in most cases. A jumbo loan, 3.37%, and a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage, 2.75%. And so that's one thing. If you have a friend, family member that's renting that was thinking about owning, man, they can get in with such a low interest rate right now for FHA loans, 3% down. A lot of times they can ask for closing costs back. We have some people on our team that specialize in that, and more than happy to help them out. So anyone you know there, have them reach out to us, of course, as well. Bottom line is things are smoking. 801 properties under contract in the last 7 days, 223 million. And that's a big time number. So if you're a seller and you're listening and you've been listening for a while and you haven't called me yet, reach out, give us a call, 843-808-SOLD.
That's the easy way to do it. Give Blake a call at his office, 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Now we got a lot of show left to go, so don't go anywhere. Coming up in just a minute, got a hot buyers alert. We'll have all the success stories and maybe a couple of horror stories as well. Here's the thing. Always remember, you want to be a success story, you don't want to be a horror story. How can you do that? Call Blake at his office, 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts.
How are we looking on time?
When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year.
Yeah, you moved pretty quick for those first two segments. You got like 10 minutes left.
Okay, cool. I got plenty to talk about. Cool, thank you.
When it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com, or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
Still got a lot of show to get to. Just want to let you know here on the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Time for your hot buyers alert. Blake and his team working with just a ridiculous amount of home buyers looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area, anywhere from $150,000 to $3.5 million. It's a pretty big range, but if you're in that range and you're thinking of selling, please contact Blake immediately. That's the same phone number we've been telling you about, 843-808-SOLD. That's spelled sold. How many people are out there looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area? Blake's already told you about the fact that there's such a limited amount of inventory out there, but there are so many people looking for homes. On his website right now, 58,735. That's the number I wrote down right before the show started. That's where we are right now. And Blake, those are active home buyers. People are looking maybe every hour, not just every day or every week. They're looking constantly for homes.
Yes, and there are thousands of people right now searching. There's, like Dave mentioned, these are username, password account people. These aren't like, just 58,000 hits. Yeah. These are separate people with separate username passwords. And so if you remember, back when the pandemic started, I was telling this story to somebody the other night, and I told him I was scared, out of my mind. But I said, look, here's the thing. I'm not pulling my foot off the pedal during this whole thing. I said, the market was hot. And thank goodness that real estate has been so resilient through this. But on top of that, it's created this massive problem where we have massive amounts of buyers, but inventory's at almost an all-time low. It's a crisis level low right now. And so we need property to sell. And I get this question a lot, especially people that, maybe listen to the show and they call us and they call a friend or whatever it is. Like, hey, look, what makes you different? The one thing that makes us different is probably this part right here is I outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. I'm sure you see us a lot around town on the billboards, hear us on radio, see us on TV. But what you don't see a lot of times is we spend massive amounts of money driving traffic online, and we get buyers from all over the country. And so on top of that, a few years ago, that created another problem where we had all these buyers and all these sellers. And what we did is we helped create an algorithm that takes any new listing we get and we basically reverse engineer that listing against all the 58,000 buyers. We find the most likely buyer for that property based on their previous search pattern. So it's almost like when you're on Facebook and you said the word about something a day ago about, like, say, a blender, all of a sudden a blender shows up on your newsfeed, right? It's very similar to that, where it just calculates based on what they've been doing, who it is what our team of salespeople do. 20 basically experts that they're on the phones all day, every day talking to buyers. They're matching them up with that property. And so before you ever pick up and call the phone to call us, we've already been marketing for buyers because I'm outspending the average agent 100 to 1. And so the reality there, though, is that what happens is we need more inventory. And so right now, we have Deborah Rogers. She's on the site. She's been here 130 visits, looked at 170 properties. She's from Lexington, Kentucky. And obviously, she came from one of our massive paid advertisements online, Google pay-per-click, all these things that we spend a tremendous amount of money on. Robert Blackwelder, he's from Sanford, North Carolina, 88 visits, looked at 92 properties. We got Patrick from Cherry Hill, Maryland. I got Ron, R-H-I-N-E, Huston from Charlotte, North Carolina. I got Amy from Wilmington, and usually from all over the place. I got Albany, New York, Carol Mayer right here, Jersey City, Mark, I can't say his last name, Singbergal, but long story short, tons of people. And so we need inventory. I share this because it's important. Like, we talk about facts, right, with our clients, with everyone else. Like, we just show you the buyers. Like, look, here's the buyers. Here's their searching in real time. You can watch what they're looking at, and we can match your house up to that. Why would it make any sense to do anything else? And so if you've been listening to this show for a while and you haven't called me, reach out and call us. When you see it, it'll absolutely blow your mind. But the bottom line, when we share this, is I need inventory. You just heard it's 41% decrease in the amount of homes sold. On top of that, sales are up, double digits. And so we need homes to sell. And we're selling them within hours for a tremendous amount more money than a lot of home sellers have been, wanting. And this is something that's I'm not necessarily been used to for a while, because I was obviously in the market before in 2005, then it went down and after 2008. And so there's so many times that sellers wanted so much more than they could ever get. Now what's happening is you're saying, hey, like, I want to get maybe 170. I'm like, look, we can get you 199, 200. And so that's the conversations we're having right now. So whatever you do, don't leave money on the table. Reach out and call us for sure. I'll give two quick success stories, I guess. Good on time? Good. All right. So this is what led me to mention earlier. So recent example, had a great couple. I'm not going to say names because of the situation, but they're going through a difficult divorce. They need to sell their high-end home in Myrtle's Inlet. They're beyond frustrated with each other, with the listing process. They use one of the spouse's friends, an average agent, been on the market for over 6 months. Nothing but empty promises, more frustration, and obviously no offers. And so thankfully, the wife heard all the success stories here on this radio station. It was her turn to pick the agent. She reached out, called us. We came in, created a custom plan. Here's the thing, though. We raised the price because the challenge was marketing the way it's marketed. I think that came in, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual reality walkthrough, and drone photography and video. Launched that program. I personally met with these people myself. I had 8 showings the first week, 2 offers, multiple offers, put it under contract, 99% of asking price with a cash offer, closed in less than a month. And so that's the reality of what happens here. And that was what made me think about this. I've been doing this for so long. And one of the things I notice, anytime I'm going through a divorce situation is there's this mistrust, right? If the husband picked me, and the wife doesn't trust me, or the wife picked me, the husband, vice versa, whatever that is. And so I'm like, man, but I've been so good at identifying, hey, look, what do you guys want? Let's work on this together. Let's make it a win-win, because if you win, I win, we all win, right? And so just doing this for so long, we put such an amazing system together where the communication is great to both parties. And we've been able to help get a lot of money in instances where people were, need that money, right? Looking to move on and start fresh and put as much money in your pocket as you can. Don't leave an extra $15,000 on the table. Don't just go with a friend who may just put it in MLS and let it sit there. And obviously, you're not going to get your full equity that you earned in that situation. And so if you know anybody going through that struggle, and here's the thing, super discreet, very, very open with both. And I'm able to really, after doing this so long, doing thousands of negotiations, and studying a lot of true psychology even, is that I'm able to make it work. And if there's a very tense situation, I'm able to be the middleman there and make it work for both and be able to get everyone on the same page because, again, I don't win unless you win, and it makes us both go down the right path. And that's something I feel that we've been able to create a great system in place that we've been able to help make sure everyone's happy. So if you know somebody in that situation, if you're in that situation, reach out to me. Call me. I'm more than happy to chat with you about it and kind of show you what we've done before. 843-808-SOLD. Another cool story here really quick is that Kathy had her house on the market for 6 months, no offers, only had 2 showings. And basically, she told us, she's like, well, I don't think those 2 buyers could have afforded it anyway. So I don't know. But the reality is she'd already bought another home. She was making 2 payments. Thankfully, she heard all the amazing success stories on this radio station. She was also referred by a vendor to us. We came in, immediately identified her problem too, marketing, designed custom plan, launched low marketing blitz, professional photos, drove massive traffic, had it under contract within 2 weeks. We just closed this week. What's really cool, though, is she did a video testimonial for us. It's on our Facebook page. You want to check it out. But the cool thing she said, she goes, oh, my God, it's just like the radio says. You know, it couldn't sell before. I called it. You guys came in, showed me what to do, under contract in 2 weeks. Because, well, why is that? Because we have a proven, repeatable system. If you don't believe me, you're welcome to go to our Facebook page. The video there, she did great testimonial. But I'm very, very thankful for her choosing us. Don't call somebody else first and obviously go through that part. So that's one thing that's super cool there as well. Really quick, another really cool story. We have 2. John and his wife want to move down to Myrtle Beach for years. Unfortunately, wife was diagnosed with cancer 3 years ago, put their plans on hold. A few months ago, she passed away right before basically told me they want to come down here. So long story short, he came in, made the decision, reached out to us through our site online, helped him find a place virtually. And all of a sudden, we got it closed on his wife's anniversary. Now he's living their dream down here, did all that virtually through COVID-19. And so Amanda on our team helped John. And so that's something that we're super proud of as well. And one last one that's super important is Megan, our team, met with some great clients, trying to start fresh, tearing this on Preston, basically going to rent. Here's the thing. After she showed them, this is what I was talking about earlier, after she showed them the difference in what can own for and rent for, we got them set with one of our VIP lenders, got 2.9% interest rate, and basically can own for much less than they can rent for. And he's obviously talented. So we got him a property. He came with $20,000 in equity, and he can fix it up, get a little more. And so he's an acre of property in Myrtle Beach with no HOA and an in-ground pool. And this is a dude that was about to go rent somewhere. And so if you want to know more about that, reach out and call us for sure. How much time we got? So one crazy number, I want you to share this number with you guys. This is from a National Home Buyer Survey. It says home buyer traffic jumped again July, record 60.7% year-over-year increase nationwide. And it talks about the South was up 46.7% year-over-year. And so what it talks about is that the NAR economist predicted that home sales increased by 8 to 12% next year. And there's strong evidence that he'll be right in that. So more things to come, but don't wait too late until rates go up or people get scared to buy for sure.
All right, sounds good. And you got like 30 seconds left. You still need some people on your
Yes, our team looking to hire winners, A players. You want to know more, you can just Google this and obviously Google Blake Sloan or Sloan Realty Group and make sure to call us as well, 843-808-SOLD.
All right, be a success story, not a horror story.
Yes, don't be like Terry.
Exactly. All right, tell you what, it's been a fantastic show. If you want to find out more about anything you heard today with Blake, all you need to do is call him at his office. Very happy to talk to you. Call 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. A lot of great stuff, Blake. Do it again next week.
Yes, sir, I'll be here.
Sounds good. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Hey, if you are in the market to make the most money for your home, Sean Hannity here with some important advice. Look, I'm an active investor. I have bought and sold a lot of properties in hot, cold,